Rajya Sabha, where Finance Minister Nirmala Sitharaman is responding to the unregulated deposit schemes.
Even after the Sikh Industrial Companies Act had been invoked, but the debtor continued to keep hold of and possession of the properties. Now, further, if you were to look at the SARFAESI Act, you saw a regime where the focus was on recovery of debts, and the object, in contrast, the object of the code is for rescue of the company, so that even if it's in difficulty, the problems are minimized and the losses are fairly distributed, and the financial burden is not on any one particular individual or particular category of creditors. So the last resort, in a way, for the code was liquidation. And given this kind of a progressive feature, the Insolvency and the Bankruptcy Code acquired a great importance, and post the passing of this, there's been a lot of sense of relief among the companies, which even probably had the chance of becoming a going concern rather than leading to liquidation. So the World Bank ease of doing business for India improved post the bringing in of the Insolvency and the Bankruptcy Code. The ranks improved for India, gave a lot of hope for industries that if they really do want to have the process of liquidation brought in, there is an amicable way of coming out of it, and also without any black mark on them. So as this was going on, we also within 2.5 years of this code realized that there are certain areas in which, for want of clarity, the interpretation given by various courts or even by the NCLT led to a very vital question, that if the legislative intent of the IBC was itself becoming weakened just for want of clarity. So today, as we are coming here with an amendment bill, it is only to make sure that each of these amendments which are being brought in are brought in for greater clarity which is required, so that no gray area prevails, no interpretations which are going against the original intent of the Act is still prevalent. So you find that in this particular amendment, set of amendments that we are bringing in, of the 7, you can say 8 amendments that we are bringing in, 4 are explanatory in nature. And any additional amendments that we are talking about are more to ensure that interpretation is given for time which is required, and a particular time that has got to be laid before for the resolution itself. We are not leaving it open-ended, we are not giving longer unending time, and therefore bringing in clarity in terms of time-bound decisions that are essential to keep the legislative intent. So in a way, the code is being also monitored by a central government expert committee, and the amendments which are being made are made after due stakeholder consultations, a lot of discussion which has been happening through the media, and also industries which have been approaching the government saying an urgency with which the set of amendments are to be brought in, because courts are also waiting. I can in fact give the picture of the number of cases which are pending even at the application stage. So this is aimed at, and very many big insolvency cases are all waiting for resolution. The balance of interests of all the stakeholders was becoming an issue, and therefore we have brought in this set of amendments for the consideration of the House, and I hope the members would have gone through the papers to see why it is so urgent, why, because of the various different interpretations which are coming through the tribunals and courts, there is a fear that the original intent with which this Parliament passed the Insolvency and Bankruptcy Code is probably getting diluted. We should not allow the dilution for want of clarity, and therefore I appeal to honourable members that the amendments be looked at in that perspective, and we are here to, of course, respond to any question that the members would ask, but the need is to have this passed so that there is clarity for all the businesses who are seeking insolvency and bankruptcy code to give them a solution. Thank you very much.
Thank you. Motion moved. There is one amendment by Sri Vinay Vishwam for reference of the Insolvency and Bankruptcy Code, Amendment Bill 2019 to a select committee of the Rajya Sabha. You move amendment with a list of names for the proposed committee.
Sir, only one sentence. It's a matter of principle, and that was raised in the House many a times. I won't want to repeat it. I shall speak on the bill later.
Since you have not given names of select committee members,
That's why.
not move. The motion for consideration of the Insolvency and Bankruptcy Code Amendment Bill 2019 are now open for discussion. Sri Kapil Sibal ji.
Sir, I rise to participate in this discussion, but before I proceed with my observations, I'd like to make a statement that I've been appearing in many of these cases. Not that I have deep interest, any personal interest in any client, but I certainly have represented several stakeholders in litigations before the court as well as before the NCLT. So I wanted to disclose my interest. Now, sir, I think that this is a well-conceived legislation. The whole...
Well, you were earlier listening to